In the bustling world of business, you're either moving forward or falling behind. Welcome to For Action Takers Only, the podcast and Facebook group where dreams become reality. We're here to fuel your ambition, sharpen your skills, and inspire your entrepreneurial spirit. Dive into the sea of opportunities with our insightful discussions, expert advice, and powerful success stories. From investment strategies to business building tips, we've got it all. Are you ready to take your first step towards your dream life? Join us on this exciting journey, unleash your potential, and watch as your dreams transform into your reality. Remember, inaction is the enemy of progress. So get on the action train with For Action Takers Only. Because the time to act is now and the place to start is here. For those who dare to dream and have the courage to act, the world is their oyster. For Action Takers Only, where dreams meet action. Tune in, take action, and transform your life. Your future self will thank you.
And welcome to For Action Takers Only. This is the podcast for serial entrepreneurs and real estate investors and anyone taking action in their dream life. My name is Todd Kirchhoff, and I am your host. I started this podcast as actually it was a homework assignment, but also a means to network with others and hear their story. So if you like what you see going on here, please like and subscribe. We can use the support. Always good to support the channel. So today I have on a serial entrepreneur. His business is out of the UK, but he is actually in Port Harcourt, Africa. His name is Peter Banigo. His current business is Target ICT Ltd, and also the host of a Tech Your Business podcast. I'm going to bring him on in and we're going to hear his story today. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I was hitting the wrong button.
It happens all the time. Thank you so much, Todd, for having me on.
No problem. So you're the tech guy, and I'm sitting over here hitting the wrong button. So you're going to have to give me some.
Don't worry, I do that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do that too.
Well, good morning and good afternoon to you. You're over there in Africa, so it's about what, 1 p.m. You said?
1 p.m. Yeah, 1 p.m. now.
Ah, cool. So tell us about yourself, man. What's your name? Well, I gave you the name, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Peter. Okay, let's just start from the beginning. My name is Peter. I'm the founder of Target ICT. But before Target ICT, like we were saying at the beginning, I went to school. I studied gas engineering, so that's like petroleum engineering, but focusing on the gas. And towards the end of my course, I realized for some reason I want to go into business instead of practicing. So I did that end of my last exams. That was in 2010, a while ago. Started my first business. It worked out. Started the second business. Then after the second business, I went for a master's. The second business failed, and then over time, I started a couple of things.
So the second business was a good learning experience, then, huh?
Oh yeah, it was.
So what was the first business you actually started? What was that?
Okay, so the first business was a web hosting business. Started that out of my bedroom, so it was. I think I started remote work before remote work was a thing.
Okay.
So yeah. So that was the first business. I think it's still on. I still have clients on it to date, but I don't really. It's just clients from maybe Target ICT or something. Then the issue I had was that the second business was a grill, so it's not related to the first one.
Totally different.
Totally different.
So you went from you went from an internet business to a food business. I see in your thing you went from business and then you had an energy business and an e-commerce. So that's a lot of different businesses.
Yeah.
That's
like, these days I think of it and I wonder what was I even thinking back then.
So what were you thinking, huh? What was your motivation behind starting your first business? Do you remember?
Okay. Yeah, so the first business, well, my motivation was basically okay, I think the main thing, when I was doing my internship, my engineering course was a 5-year course. So in the 4th year, we were meant to go to for 6 months to work in a company that's where we learn and all that. So halfway through the 6-month internship, went to work on Monday morning, and like half of the team in the company got fired. And I'm wondering, wait, I don't want to be. If this is the career path I choose, I might get to a point where someone just wakes up and because something is wrong, they just fire me without any notice, and it really hurts me because I had really had. I love being in control of most variables, so it didn't look like what I wanted to do. And fortunately, at that point, I was reading some books on investment, on entrepreneurship, books like Rich Dad Poor Dad and things like that. And I'm like, okay, maybe this entrepreneurship thing might be the way out. At least that way I have more control. So I started looking at different things. Then what happened? I think I bought this. Okay, I found a book. I can't remember. First, something in web hosting. I bought a web hosting reseller account on the last day of my final exam, like I said. And yeah, that was it. I started the business. Fortunately, it worked.
All right, so now let's move into the food business. What made you decide to want to do a food business? And you said it was a grill,
Peer pressure.
huh?
It was peer pressure.
Huh?
Part
Peer
of it was peer
pressure?
pressure.
Oh,
Because back then,
you had some friends
yeah,
going, "Hey, man, you need to do this."
no, not really. What happened was, when I was doing the web hosting business, I would wake up in the morning, put up my adverts on Google. People call me from all over the place. They pay into my account. I make money. But my parents, my friends, nobody felt I was really doing anything because then there was no remote work. So nobody knew. They just knew that I wake up in the morning, I don't even shower, and I'm getting alerts in my account. It was weird. But other people are going to work and coming back and having the commute. So over time, it kept being there at the bottom of my mind. I want something that'll take me out and bring me in like everyone else. Then I used to be bothered by what people think. I'm different now, but that was part of the reason. So I think once I went to, my friend was managing a bar back then. The bar had this grill section. It was empty. I went to the bar at night and I'm like, oh, why is the grill section empty? What's wrong? And he's like, oh, we don't have anybody to manage it. I'm like, okay, what if I rent that section and set it up for you? Then I had a lot of energy, so yeah. so he talked to the owner of the place. The owner agreed, and you won't believe it. By the next, that was like maybe 6-7 p.m. that day. You won't believe by the next evening we were selling chicken and fish there.
Well, that's a pretty quick startup right there.
It was like those days. I always used to just move and then maybe later think, okay, what have I just done? That was me.
All right, so what happened to that business? How long did that one last?
Funny enough, it was actually really profitable because when you look at it, if we bought the chicken at one price, we actually were selling it like 5 times what we bought it.
Oh, wow.
Including the ingredients. So it was really high profits. I think in the next I think 6 months or thereabouts, we're able to open a couple of branches of that business. I think the name was Fuego Grill and Barbecue. So we were able to open a couple of branches. But what happened was still peer pressure.
Uh-oh. Yeah, that always gets you into trouble.
So everyone felt I had high grades in school, and everyone felt I should be in the oil and gas industry. Because where I was born was the oil and gas. It's like the oil and gas capital of my country. So everyone's like, oh, you have good grades. You have this degree. You should be in oil and gas. Okay, you're not. And I wasn't really interested. So they were like, okay, maybe do a master's. Maybe if you do a master's, you'll be more interested. I'm like, okay, no problem. I started looking out for some scholarships. I applied for about 2 of them. The first I didn't get. The second I get, and I got, and I got a scholarship to go to the UK. That's Coventry University in the UK, fully paid. So I was like, okay, what's there to lose? I went there, and the thing is that when I was doing this first 2 business, I knew nothing about business, so I didn't know anything about systems, about processes. So once I left physically managing the business and went to Coventry, it didn't take 3 months. The business failed because I wasn't there. That's the grill.
Okay. All right. So you went you went to oil and gas, or you went to energy after that, or what was next? E-commerce?
No, next was another food business.
Huh? Was a what business?
No, next were actually 2 food businesses here. So while I was in the
okay.
UK, one of my friends wanted to start a food business and was lost about the process. And I was like, oh, I just did something like that. That was when I had already closed this other grill. So we worked on the business plan, everything. She won a grant from the Prince's Trust, and we opened it. So it was what's the name, Maria Sports. What it did was to deliver African food around Wolverhampton. That was West Midlands in the UK. So Maria Sports that stayed for a while, but I had to once the school was over. I didn't really like the UK at that point. That was the first time I was there. I didn't like the weather. I think I was depressed for some reason there. So I think as I finished my project, my final year project, I just got on the next flight back to Nigeria. So I stopped being involved with that business. It closed like maybe a year or so later. Then I came back to Nigeria and I started another food business again with two other friends. So in Port Harcourt, where I'm from, there's this food that's, if you come to Port Harcourt, everybody, like there's a local food for everywhere. So the local food for Port Harcourt is like plantains with fish. They call it bole. So what we did, it's usually sold by the roadside. So what we did, me and two of my friends, we packaged it, made it presentable, set up the name of the business was Bole King. So we made it so fancy and nice and all that. And yeah, so that was the next business I started.
All right. Is that one still going?
It closed in 2017.
Ah, okay. Well,
yeah.
But you learned a lot, huh? So would you say you learned a lot from all these businesses you start? How many businesses now have you started, would you say?
I don't think I can count.
Because
because
so it's safe to say you're a serial entrepreneur then. It's safe to say you're a serial entrepreneur.
Because at the point where I did Bole King, I started two e-commerce businesses. One was selling self-defense gadgets. Facebook closed that down. Then I pivoted to another one selling smartwatches and co. Then I set up another one selling smartwatches and co internationally. Then those were running. What else? Then I started procurement, oil and gas procurement, because I wanted to do something close to the degrees I had. They were gathering dust somewhere. So I'm like, okay, I had a friend that had a warehouse, and I'm like, okay, I can help you sell off your chemicals, drilling chemicals for oil and gas and all that. I started a business, I think around 2016 or 17. Then what else? I think it was 2018, though, I started Target ICT. So that was basically it. Yeah.
So tell us about Target ICT. What is its purpose?
Okay, so Target ICT, when I say I started one food business and I started another food business, it always surprises people when I say till dates, I can't cook to save my life. I can probably boil water, I can boil an egg, I can boil rice, and that's it.
That's the way I am.
I can't cook to save my life. So all these things I started, I had one advantage because I started Target ICT 2018, but I realized that I had one advantage in all the things I started, and that advantage was that I had always been this nerdy kid. I know my mom bought me a laptop back in 2006 when I got into school, like maybe a year or two after I got into school, 2006, and I'm this. Right from birth, I've been this kid who wants to go into everything, and so I knew everything about that computer. So that's where my tech interest started from, and then I realized, so I learned a lot about affiliate marketing, and co. So when I started starting these businesses, I was able to use these things I had learned fiddling with my computer, fiddling with internet, to be ahead of others in these businesses. So for instance, the web hosting business, I was using Google Ads when not many people were using Google Ads. The food business, Maria Sports, we had an ordering platform. Not many people had that then. Even the big companies weren't there then, but we had an online ordering platform. We're using Facebook ads for the Bole King business. Facebook ads were like almost all the sales for that. Then Facebook ads were so easy. You just put up an ad with a nice picture and you're just making sales at pennies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So then the procurement business, I was able to use SEO. So basically, other people in the same business, what they used to do was maybe on Mondays, they have the business development team. They get in the car on Mondays, go to all the oil companies and tell them, oh, we have this, would you buy? We have this, would you buy? My approach was different. I wrote articles on everything we sell. So triethylene glycol, monoethylene glycol, the different chemicals they had. Buy this in here, buy this here, buy this here. Very long articles. And like over maybe 6 months or more, we had those companies, these people were going to knock at calling us for those things.
Okay.
without leaving the office. So all these things were ways I was able to use tech to have an advantage. And over time, people used to ask, kept asking, okay, how are you doing this? You don't go out to market, but you have a lot of orders coming from the warehouse. You don't, you make so much sales from a distance. We don't see any billboards or flyers or anything. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? So I always joke that when I tell people that I started Target ICT to charge people for those questions they kept asking me.
Well, but you actually get to because you're helping. So is that you help businesses with tech, basically, huh?
Yes, we do. We do.
So what all tech are you involved in then? What types of tech do you help them out with?
Okay, so basically we've done a couple of things over time. What you do is you take a typical business, you take either a problem they're having or the tech they are using. Then we try to see what tech can either solve that problem they're having or how we can reduce any issues they're having or reduce the cost of whatever tech stack they're currently using while being more efficient. Because these days you have so many subscriptions, and honestly, to me, most of them are not necessary. So things like that. So we also build software too for businesses if necessary.
That's funny because so you're analyzing the businesses and you're going and telling them, hey, this is what we see, and this is the app, this is the technique or the programs you're using. This is probably what you could use to streamline this procedure and stuff. That's the kind of stuff you're doing. Oh
exactly.
Man,
exactly.
You need to go work for Ionos web hosting and straighten them out. Geez, they like to charge the hell out of you for everything. I mean, it's just like they oversell everything. Everything is just like here. They add on this, and then they just throw all this stuff at you, and you really don't know what you need. So you end up getting all these extra little things, and hey, I don't need that. I got to do that. Built my website. The guy that built the website for the podcast, he looked at my Ionos account. He's like, man, you don't need half of what you got on there, and they're charging you for all this. Oh man, well, we got to clean that out. So there's a business idea for you. Go and start. Anybody that's using Ionos, go and consult to them and figure out what they need, don't need in their service, and you can charge them for that service. So tell me, what was with getting Target ITC? You mentioned in your promo that you had a setback, that you actually stopped doing business for a little while, or so what happened? Can you hint on that? Can you tell us about that a little bit?
This when I started Target ICT in 2018, I was in a relationship then, but somehow during the pandemic, I was in a relationship, but somehow it wasn't smooth. It was rocky. Then during the pandemic, we got separated.
Okay.
And funny enough, it really took a heavy toll on me. At that point, I had 4 businesses running at the same time. I remember about 4 businesses running at the same time. And it took a toll on me because this was someone I really had planned my future around, someone I was really into. It took a toll on me. And at a point, I didn't want to work. I didn't want to do anything. So there was a point in 2020 or thereabouts where I let all the business I was doing, I just let everything go. I locked myself in the house. That was when I grew this beard because I didn't want to go to the barber.
Yeah.
But I think over time, I think a couple of months later, I had my aunt, that's my mom's younger sister. She always kept, I didn't tell her what was wrong with me, but she knew something was up. So I know she kept calling me every single day, asking how I was, and I'll be like, oh, I'm fine. But September 2021, she died. And she was this person that I always say that she lived her life fully. She did everything she wanted to do. She had a full career. When she finished her career, she started the business, and the business was so good. She enjoyed every bit of life. And I'm like, wait, if I keep doing this thing I'm doing to myself, locking myself in, not talking to anyone, not wanting to do anything, I'm not going to live a full life. I'm going to regret when I die. So I think that was really the kicker when I look back, and I was like, okay, no, you can't be doing this to yourself. So I decided to think, okay, what do you want to do? I looked at everything I was doing, and I'm like, these businesses you're doing, most of them, you don't even really want to do them. You see things and you're like, oh, this is nice, you jump in. You see things and you're like, this looks good, you jump in.
Yeah.
And I was like, and the only business The only one I really wanted to do out of all of them was Target ICT. The only one I really enjoyed, the only one I knew I could do without being paid was Target ICT. So I decided, okay, I let all the rest go and then pick Target ICT, and that's why I always call myself former serial entrepreneur, because I'm not doing that anymore.
That's a good story. I mean, so Target ITC is your main now. Now you also have a podcast though too. Tell us about your podcast.
Yes. Okay, so this podcast is basically when I started Target ICT. When we have questions from clients or prospects, what I'll usually do is make a blog post out of those questions. Then during the pandemic, I got listening to podcasts. We were locked up. I was locked up. So I had all the time in the world to listen to everything. I was kind of listening to podcasts, and I'm like, I noticed that if I read blog posts, I might just skim, and I leave. I won't get the full meat. But podcast, I'll sit and listen to a 2-hour podcast. I felt my attention span was low, but I'll do that. I'm like, wait, this is a good idea. So I had that idea back during the pandemic 2020. Oh, a podcast would be nice to have. Then what actually kicked the podcast off? Back in 2016, I'm an introvert, and because I'm a business person, I have to sell and talk to people. I didn't really like that at the beginning. So in 2016, a couple of years into business, I joined Toastmasters, and I joined Toastmasters. Then 2016, I joined. Then I dropped off in 2017 because I just got too busy. Then 2020 or 21, during that, 2021, after my aunt died, I rejoined again. And my level 4 project in Toastmasters was start a podcast. I'm like, okay, I have this podcast idea. This is a guide. Let me just use this guide and kick it off. So I followed the guide, started it, and we are 93 or 94 episodes in.
Yeah, I saw that. I was looking at yours the other day. He's already done 9. How long has it been going?
The first was November 2022, so that's 2 years.
Okay, so 2 years, and you're at almost 100 episodes.
Yeah.
So how often do you do it? Are you doing it like once a week, once a month? How often are you doing that?
It started with once a week, then no. It started with once a month, then once every 2 weeks, then once a week, then twice a week, then I ran back to once a week. Yeah, it's supposed to be once a week, but like for now we have a lot of interviews jam-packed. So when we have a lot of interviews, I just do twice a week to get them out so they don't get stale. But the normal thing is once a week.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So when do you do your interviews? You just do them all the time, and then you hold on to them, and then just you post once a week? Is that how you're doing it?
Yes, exactly. So what we do, we just schedule the interviews. I usually like interviewing on Mondays because my brain is fresh on Mondays, Mondays and Tuesdays. Then, so anyone who comes on does Mondays and Tuesdays. Then I have a sheet where the dates are scheduled. So once an interview is ready, we just fix a date for it. So it's produced, then it goes into that date. So that's how we do it. So I think we have them scheduled till mid-November for now.
All right. So tell me, what do you do to stay ahead of emerging trends and technologies? Since you're a tech company, what are you doing to stay up on top of things?
I pay for a lot of things. I pay for
right.
I pay for a lot of things because a lot of times you see a software or a tool and maybe it has a free version, but the free version you can't really recommend something from the free version. So a lot of times we have to pay for it, experience it. Is it giving what it's promising? Does it work as it said it will work? And then from there you have a better idea. So I pay for a lot of things. I read a lot. I listen to a lot of podcasts on the tech industry and a couple of groups on my field. So I think between that, I think I'm up to date to an extent.
All right. So you read a lot. I was going to ask about books. Any main books that stick out for, say, that you would recommend for other serial, I can't even say the word, serial entrepreneurs. Any other books that you would recommend for other serial entrepreneurs that want to start up like multiple businesses?
Yes. There's one book that I always blame for giving me that bad habit I had of just starting things and thinking about that later. I read that early. I think around I think either before or when I was doing the first business. And that book is Ready, Fire, Aim by Michael Masterson. Yeah,
Okay.
so Ready, Fire, Aim, yeah, it's just basically once you're ready, you do what you have to do. You take the first step before you think. Or before you
Right,
get
because
lost analyzing.
right, because what'll happen? You just said you'll get lost analyzing, you'll
Yeah.
overanalyze, overthink, then you'll start saying, "Well, maybe I shouldn't do this," and yeah, all that doubt. So, what do you?
And you know the funny thing, that book is really true because there was I think there are like 2 or 3 businesses I wanted to start and I didn't start because I wanted to do an elaborate business plan. So back in 2017, I had the idea for a seafood boil. Did the whole beautiful logo. Normally, I start businesses without the logo, but then we did beautiful logo, very big, like 60, 70 page business plan, and register the business, and all that is just in one folder. Never started.
Oh yeah,
Never started. So I think businesses like that, a lot of time that's what happens. You just get stuck planning and then you just lose the zeal, or you just realize in planning you see that something would go wrong. But end of the day, if you start before you get stuck in planning, you end up fixing that thing that would have gone wrong and you just go ahead. Because that's business basically. Fixing
right.
things and getting bigger by fixing things.
Well, I mean, they say most people don't take action on the things they want to do. It's about 1%. So,
True.
I mean, once you got an idea, it's best just, hey, I don't really know what the hell I'm doing. I didn't know what the hell I was doing with this podcast, and I just started it because it was a homework assignment, and I was going to do the 3 interviews, and then it kind of, well, I'm going to stick to doing this. I kind of like it. And I didn't think I would. That was the thing. I didn't think I would like this at all. Because it's like you said it too. You said you were an introvert, and that's I find
Yes.
a lot of business people or entrepreneurs are introverts, and it's funny because we're like that, but then we got to be out there, like you said, we got to be out there selling ourselves and talking to people. So, what gets you over that? How do you deal with that?
It's honestly it's practice. It's practice because when I first started my podcast, I wanted to do audio alone because till now I hate taking pictures. I hardly have pictures of myself on my phone or videos. Then I started
Okay,
with audio and I'm like, okay, from there I moved to video. I was a bit awkward on the first videos. Then I started getting guests by episode, I think 10 or thereabouts. My first few episodes, I always tell people that the first few episodes, if I have an interview by 2 p.m., I won't be able to do any work from 7 a.m. till 2 p.m. because I'll be so tense. I'm wondering what's going to happen. Am I prepared? How did it go? Just catastrophizing in my head.
right.
but yeah, but the funny thing is that right now I'm at a point where this interview, I actually thought it was 2 p.m. my time. And then I check my phone and my phone is giving me like 30 minutes to your interview. Oh, wow.
So now
And I
it's
rushed in
not.
here, I set up everything. Like I was ready like 10 minutes to the time. If you notice, I came in like 3 minutes to the interview. I couldn't have done that before. Before I would have been ready like 1 hour sitting here and just being so tense.
Worrying about messing up, and yeah,
Yeah. So I
I mean,
think it's just practice.
I was kind of like that when I first started. I was like, oh no, and I was like, why gotta I ask all these questions? And then have everything planned out. I would do a topic, and I noticed what every time I did a topic and tried to stay on the topic, the interview didn't go smooth. It wasn't a conversation, so I was like, I'm not doing
Yeah.
that.
You won't even want to listen to it yourself.
Right, right, and that's the thing. I want a free flowing conversation. I want to get to know the people on here, and that's what this is about. So it's like getting to know you and stuff like that. So let me ask you this: in your opinion, what are most critical traits of a successful entrepreneur in today's business landscape? What
I
would make
think
a good one? What would make a
one thing is
successful one?
the ability to never stop learning, never ever stop learning. And especially now with technology, everything just changes in seconds, in minutes. So the moment you stop learning, you're going to be left far behind. So I'll say never stop learning. The second thing is be resilient. Be resilient because business is going to test you to the maximum. Everything that's supposed to go wrong is going
Say
to go wrong.
say that again. Say that
I say,
again.
yeah, I say you should be resilient because business
Hmm.
is going to test you. everything that's going to go wrong is going to go wrong starting a business. So you should be ready to, because a lot of times, let's say you're in a corporate job, something goes wrong. What you see mostly in corporate jobs is people just shift the blame, shift the responsibility to the next person. But in business, something goes wrong, it's you. If you don't fix it, you fail. so, so you need,
Right.
so you actually need to be, yeah,
There's no one to hand it off to now. It's like,
yeah.
oh wait,
It's my
this is
supervisor. It's him.
on me.
Yeah, because basically business is just like I said before. One thing I've noticed about business, a lot of things in business should look very difficult. I've been through things where I felt, oh my god, this is the end. This is the end. I'm going to look for a job.
You know,
but
yeah.
but the funny thing
That's-
is that those things, I finally got around to fixing these things, and those same things would happen now. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine, cool. I'll fix it again because I'm now a bigger person because I faced them and I fixed them. So I think, yeah, that's another thing.
there
Every
you
entrepreneur
said the
needs to
key.
know.
I am now, you said the perfect key. I am now a bigger person because I faced it and then
Yeah,
I fixed it.
yeah,
So if you don't face them, that's the thing I think most people don't realize. Even just facing the problem, you don't even have to fix it right away. If you face it,
yeah.
that's a big hurdle towards your problems. So let me ask you, since you're in doing all this stuff with tech, how are you staying like AI? How is AI playing into your tech business now? Are you seeing a lot more? Are you learning a lot about AI?
Oh yeah, we actually use a lot of AI. A lot of things we use AI for them because I've seen it. It makes two people do the work of 15 people. so
Right?
yeah, so AI has been a really really great addition, a really great tool, and it just keeps getting better every year. Then I think we have an AI product that we're currently. I won't say testing. We have it in a couple of businesses. It's called an instant setter. So basically, it's still basically teching your business. So basically business who have a lot of inbound calls and maybe they don't have a budget for, or they have too many people calling in when they're on break or out of office. So we have instant setters. That's it's an AI thing. You have the number on your website. Someone calls in, AI answers them like a human. You can answer them in your own voice. It qualifies them if they're a sales lead. It books them in if they're maybe a customer or something. And then you wake up in the morning and you see it's done everything for you. So that's how we are using AI. And yeah.
You see how it's done everything for you. I know I started using Simplified. I'm using the Simplified AI program that has a bunch of different stuff in there for doing, and I finally figured out how to start scheduling my posts, my social media
Yeah.
posts. So it'll create them and schedule them for me and just pop it on there. Oh wow! I wish I would have known about that like last year. That would have helped out
Honestly.
a whole lot. You know. But yeah, so do you do it with your business? Do you go and train these companies? Like you show them the software, here's the solution, then you take training to them and show them how to use it and how to apply it to their business?
Yes, yes. So if we okay, like for instance, just before COVID, we built an ERP, enterprise resource planning software for a company. So if we build something like that for a company, what comes with it is training. There is a video training on different aspects of it. Then, if they want, but most times it doesn't really get to that because it's mostly self-explanatory. But if they want, then we can come in and guide them live and tell them, okay, this is how you do this is how you do this. Because a lot of times with technology, when you introduce new technology, if people don't know how to use it, it's just going to be there. They're going to ignore it.
Right. So what are some of your personal habits and routines that contribute to you staying positive, getting through these difficult things, and how, what would you say gets you through past that?
I think before the pandemic, before I focused on Target ICT, I was this work person. So I just used to wake up, work, sleep, eat, wake up, work, sleep, eat, basically. But then I now found out that we need to actually have other things in our lives. We need to have hobbies. We need to have other things so we can actually produce more. Because I noticed there was a time I tried to calculate. I used this app Clockify to calculate how long I was actually working, and I realized that in an 8-hour day, I actually did only like maybe 2 hours of work. And I'm like, so why are you working so long? Why are you going to the office 6 a.m. in the morning, 6:30 a.m. in the morning, and come back by 8 when you're not doing much in the office? So these days, I'm a more rounded person. So these days, I only work from 8 to 5 or 7 to 5, depending on the day. Then apart from that, too, I started a health journey 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was at that point when I was doing all the work, eat, sleep cycle, I was about 180, 110 kilos. Right now, this morning, I'm 82 kilos. I can't remember how much in pounds that is. So I lost about 22 kilos since then. And what I've been doing, first of all, I no longer take alcohol. I stopped that in 2021. I walk at least, I've not missed that 6,000 steps every day. I've not missed that since January 2023. So every morning, once I wake up, I make sure I walk. I think I'm at 4,600 now, so I have 1,400 to go. After this, I'll walk and come back. Then I pay attention to what I eat. I pay attention to what I eat. I barely eat anything processed these days because I noticed there are foods you eat and you feel lazy, you feel weighed down, you don't feel energetic as you're supposed to when you eat food. Food is supposed to give you energy and all that. Then I think apart from that, so I've started paying attention to hobbies outside work. So back 2021, I picked up painting as a hobby. So everything behind me, I painted it myself. Every painting behind me, I painted it around 2021, 2020. I think that
All
was part
right.
of what I used to get myself out of that place I was painting.
Mhm.
Really, I love it. I still love it till now. Then I think these days I spend a lot of time with my plants. So I have 2 of them in here. That's my monstera and that's my ivy. I have a mini forest in front of my house. I started with just the ivy. So I spend a lot of time gardening, and I realized that it really helps because I wake up in the morning, I look at my plants, I water my plants, and then I come into the office and my brain is just so fresh and open. And I do a lot more work in the 8 to 5 than the 6 to 7 or 6 to 8 I was doing back then. So I think that balance is actually needed to clear your head so it's more efficient, you work more efficiently.
I was going to ask you, how do you balance your time? And so you block your time and you do everything on a schedule, huh?
Yeah, I have a
So
time.
got it all. It took me. I had a problem with that when I first started, especially when I first started the podcast. It started to have to keep a schedule. I never used to keep a schedule. I never liked that. I was like, and I didn't see the point, but now I do. I'm like, because forgetting things, and I thought, I can keep all this right up here.
No. That's the worst thing. Because there's something someone says that the brain is meant for processing, not for storage. So these days I just put everything I need to remember out. I don't really have a good memory, so that's even. So everything I need to remember is out of my head. So when I just meet something I have to do, I just know that I just need to look at it and do it, not remember that I have to do it before looking at it and doing it. So,
all right.
That really
so
helps.
in your business, what is the best tech you're using right now?
That's an interesting question. I think the best tech I'm using is Anthropic's. That's Claude AI. So the Anthropic system, Anthropic does a really great. For me, it's actually better than the OpenAI's products.
Okay.
It gives better answers, better results, and everything. So most of the things we code, the instance setters, everything, we base it on Anthropic. So yes,
Okay.
I think that's actually the best thing I'm using right now because most of our like the podcast, the show notes, all those things go through there before they come out. Yeah.
So what software do you use for your podcast?
Okay, for recording, I used to use Riverside, but these days I use Podcastle. It's almost like Riverside, but it's the same. For recording, Riverside. No, sorry, Podcastle.
Okay.
What else? What else? I think that's all. Then Spotify to send it out. Then I have an editor who does the editing. I tried that earlier for like 3 or 4 episodes, but it was just I'm not that patient. I realized.
No, come on. Most entrepreneurs aren't patient. That's why they started their own thing. Like, I'm sick of waiting for the solution. So they started finding solutions. So, do you have any? Let me ask you this: mentors. Do you have any personal mentors or anybody you follow that has really helped in your journey, or that you look up to?
Mentors, I think over time I've had different people I've looked up to. I know at the start of my journey, I used to love Richard Branson's stories. I'm sure that's why I starting all those things, like Richard Branson in the UK, Virgin, and all that. Started so many things. Then after starting a couple of things, I read from what's his name, Lord Sugar. That's the person from The Apprentice UK. I read his book, What You See Is What You Get. I have it in my by my bedside. So he talked about his story, how he started from nothing, he started trading and all that. And it really sounded like me. Started from, because growing up, my whole family all had 9 to 5s. I didn't have any entrepreneur in my nuclear or extended family. So they felt I was crazy. They still feel I'm crazy till dates, but not as much as back then.
Your family members always will think you're crazy. Oh, he's crazy. He should just go get a job. He should just go get.
Yeah,
Mine would just go get a job. Just
yeah.
go get a job. I don't
so
want to
so
work
so now
forever.
reading these books from these people doing this thing made me feel okay. Yes, these people did it and they're still alive. The sky didn't fall, and yeah. So Richard Branson, what's his name, Alan Sugar. Then I think a couple of people over time. Yeah, my aunt that died was a really great influence too. Um, at for till now, yeah. Because I really a lot of times she inspires me, especially the way she used to solve problems. She was this when I was younger. I was this person who, if I have a problem, I start thinking of how I am going to solve the problem. I start wasting so much time. But she has a problem. She just thinks, oh, who can solve this problem for me? She calls the person. Most of the time, tech, it was always me. So I think even now she's been dead like 3 years, but I think a lot of times I have a problem. I want to start thinking about it. And I remember, oh no, she would have just called someone, and I think, okay, who do I call? And it just makes my saving so much time and
There you
stress.
go. That is, you're right. It saves a lot of time, and that's a thing in business. Is like, hey, they start training us, or in the mentorship I got in, it's like, hey, as soon as you can, hire somebody. As soon as you
Yes.
can, delegate. Find, you don't have to know everything. Find someone that knows that part, and have them and
Yes.
bring them in. Partner up with people. They call it squad up in our community. Squad up with people, and get with others that know. So you don't have to be on this journey alone, right?
True. Very true.
All right. So can you tell us about any big failures you had in the business, or mistakes you
Yeah.
made along the way that really stick out, that stand out? That
Yeah, I think the first one was the first food business, not knowing about. I think that was ignorance, mostly ignorance. I didn't
Yeah.
know anything about systems and processes. I didn't know they existed. But when the business failed, I think maybe 2 years later or so, I found the e-meet, the book, the e-meet. I read the book. I learned about, oh, so your business can actually run almost automatically. So that's when. So these days, I'm always, anything I do, anything we do has to be documented. I remember in the Burger King business, we had last to the last teaspoon of every recipe documented. So we didn't really have to have expert cooks. Anyone who could follow instructions would bring excellent food out if they follow those instructions. So that's one. Then big failures I've had. I think letting old businesses die was a, looking back, it wasn't a good idea. I should have sold them. I should have handed over to someone. But I think maybe I was in that mental state to think of all that back then. Like they say, hindsight is 2020. Then I think I've had a couple of times um, where my business, if I have always, I had an SMS business once. We had a programming error where we buy wholesale and with a wholesaler, and we link our website through the API to that wholesaler. There was a time there was a programming error. It wiped out the accounts, and that was like almost the 6, 7, 8 months of cash flow for the business.
oh,
Like, that was the first time that kind of thing was happening to me. I went to the office, I looked at it, I couldn't work that day. I just shut down and went back home.
I bet,
So
I bet.
that was, yeah, that was the first time that something like that happened. But funny enough, I was able to fix it because I came back, talked to the clients, explained what happened. Somehow we were able to little by little pay them back till the business shut down. Then I remember I talked about the e-commerce business where we were selling self-defense gadgets. We were
Mm-hmm.
selling that through Facebook, 2014.
Uh-huh.
So we're selling stun guns. What do they call those things? Pepper spray, all those things. Selling so much, so much. I bought big stock and all that, and then I woke up on a Monday morning, no calls, no orders. I'm like, what's wrong? I checked my account. Facebook has blocked me because all of a sudden they've categorized what to sell as weapons. So I'm now an arms dealer. so I
Oh,
learned,
wow.
so I learned from that one that you shouldn't put your eggs in one basket, especially with all these online platforms. If you're advertising, you have Facebook, you should have something else. You should have Twitter, whatever works. You should have something else. So if something shuts you down, and you should always try to own your customer data, own your platforms. That's what I learned from that. So these days, we want them to be on a website or a database I can save on my laptop, not with some social media company or the other. So those are a couple of things I remember just off the bat.
All right. So where do you see Target ICT in 5 years? What are your plans for Target ICT? I want to keep messing it up. I want to say ITC.
Yeah, I think
I got
Target
dyslexia. It
ICT.
wants to come out the other way. It doesn't want to come out how I feel.
It sounds one way inside and it comes out. I do that a lot too.
Right.
So I think Target ICT in the next 5 years, I think I'm just having fun. I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now. So next 5 years, we'll keep building new products for our clients, keep making clients happy, keep expanding, keep testing our processes, and I think growing the business more. I think the main thing I want to do is just take the business to a place where I can focus more on my hobbies. I enjoy my hobbies these days and still focus on the part of the business I like. So I don't have to deal with marketing. I don't have to deal with any other thing apart from just talking to people about their tech problems, solving problems. I love solving problems. That's probably what I like most. So anything else with business, it's not really me. So I think by 5 years we should have outsourced everything else and I just focus on that and yeah,
All right.
just have fun and enjoy the
Ever
journey.
thought about it? Ever thought about a coaching business? I mean, you're talking about doing health and mindset is a big deal here, and there's a lot of people getting into coaching, just for mindset coaching, stuff like that. Not even for working out; it's for mindset, and it's to do with
Yeah,
business owners because we all know the struggles that come. So it's like we come with the imposter syndrome.
yeah,
It's like, hey, should I really be doing this? And I mean, you've had it. You've been there. Like the doubts that creep in and cost a lot of havoc in our lives. So, hey, with your podcast, do you have any very memorable guests that stick out?
memorable guests. I think I enjoyed the last interview I had, which was yesterday. I think it should be out September something, around
Okay.
September. The guest had a gardening business, so we ended up not talking about tech. We ended up talking about plants.
All right, I
we
was
ended up
seeing that one. Yeah.
we ended up talking about plants, but it was actually a lot of fun because we were able to
That's
connect on
tech.
that level. Yeah.
That's actually tech. We
Yeah.
have to have that stuff. That's tech for human. That's human tech.
Yeah. True.
True. So, what keeps you motivated now, though? So you're moving along. You're happy in your business. You could tell. I could tell you're happy in your business. You like what's going on. So that keeps you. I know that keeps you motivated.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, what are some common themes you like to do on your podcast? Do you have a certain thing you stick to? Is it only tech? Well, you just said you were talking about plants, but do you have any other common themes in your podcast?
Okay, I think basically we do, first of all, we do entrepreneur stories. So if you're a business owner and maybe you've had tech challenges you've had to overcome, or you have a unique way of using tech to stay ahead of other people, we like having guests like that on because it's something that listeners can always listen to and relate with. Then we have service providers at times who maybe they offer a service that helps people take their business. So we have them come on and then talk about the service. Probably if it could help one or two people or make them more aware of. In those kind of episodes, we like talking about the problem. So I had an interview 2 days ago. We talked about compliance, because compliance with the tax laws, data laws, and everything, businesses need to know a lot. So we talked about compliance there. So, but the person had a company that offers compliance, so we have things like that. So basically those two kinds of episodes. But it all goes about using tech to improve your business, different ways to use tech to improve your business, different products to improve your business with tech.
You said your business is basically based out of the UK, right?
Yes.
So your business is all online then, pretty much, right?
Yeah, I think that's one reason. That's another reason I actually picked Target ICT, because the other business I had, they were making me have a roots. And at the point when I started Target ICT was a point when I wanted to travel. I wanted to see the world. I was tired of waking up 6:30 to go to the office and coming back. And because right from when I was younger, I always wanted to travel. And then I started the business because partially it would have given me freedom. And then I realized that business ended up being a chain. It just kept me going to the office and back. If I travel out, I'm going for a conference or a meeting or something. I'm like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. So when I started Target ICT, I'm like, okay, this is something. I was living in the UK. I was living in Leicester back then when I started Target ICT. So I'm like, okay, most of my clients are going to be out of the UK. So I think this would let me travel. And I actually did a bit of traveling before COVID. Enjoyed a lot of it. And I think I'll still do a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's one of my passions, traveling. I love seeing new places.
Right. So, hey, do you have one gadget you can live without? You can't live without, I mean? You're a techie, so is there one thing that you just always I gotta have this. Gotta have it for your business.
You know the funny thing, I think there's this thing that they say that the cobbler had no shoes. People come to my house and they realize I don't really like tech around me.
When you're not doing work, you don't like it, right?
I don't like tech. So I like my friend has this Alexa, and he's like, why don't you have things? I say I don't like anything listening on me all day. So the only tech I have in my house are my router, my podcast things here, my router, my cell phones, my tab, computer. That's all. So, but I think the only out of there gadget I have and that I really enjoy is my smartwatch, because I've been on a health journey for the past 2 years.
Okay.
Health journey for the past 2 years. It helps me keep track of, I think what I'm keeping track of now is my VO2. They call it the VO2 max. So it's like your heart's capacity to process oxygen. I don't know, it's like a lot of grammar. But it's linked with cardio. Yeah, so I'm trying to improve my cardiac capacity. So anytime I run or go on a walk, I try to keep track of it. When I was trying to lose weight, I used to record the weight so I can see a chart and all that, my heart rate, all those things. So it's really, I don't take it off. I sleep with it. It tracks my sleep too.
Okay.
So the only time I take it off is to charge it for like an hour or so, and it's back on.
All right, is that an Apple? Is it an Apple smartwatch?
No, it's a Samsung Watch 5. Yeah.
Okay, so you're the Samsung guy, huh?
Yeah, everything here is Samsung. My boards, everything.
All right. So, besides your podcast, how do you network and get your name out there about your business?
The podcast actually. Okay, yeah, the podcast. Yeah, it gets the name out. But apart from the podcast, what else? We do a couple of ads. We do a couple of ads, video ads once in a while. A couple of video ads. Then most of the clients we get actually are referrals. Apart from that, so probably people we've worked with and did a good job with. Try to remind them, because I've noticed if you don't remind them, they won't remember to refer you. So once in a while, we just, do you know anyone that has this problem that you had and we solved? Just once in a while, not in a very pushy way, but yeah, we remind them and they send people across once in a while. So I think that's basically it. Adverts, podcasts, referrals.
Yeah. So social media is a big part of it?
Social media, not really.
No.
Yeah, we post on social media, but it's not really a client's a lead generator yet.
Okay. So let me ask you this, though. Do you have a lot of clients that are asking you to teach you about or teach them about social media and how to utilize it in their business?
Yeah, a couple of clients, maybe we are talking about building something for them. Yes, they assume that once you're building the software, you should know, you should do the digital marketing, you should do the this, and you should do that. And I say, I don't really want to become that. I call that the octopus phase of my life, where I
Mm-hmm.
was just doing so many things. I say, we just want to focus on this thing. I know, yes, we do the marketing. We've done the marketing. I've done marketing too, and I know about. I know a bit about it, but it's not my where I would say I'm 100% expert. So yeah, people ask about that, but we just usually maybe push them off to someone else or something.
All right. So you run across a young guy, young entrepreneur. What kind of advice would you give him? He's starting out. He's going to take your path. He wants to start his own businesses, maybe a food business. What kind of advice you going to give him?
What kind of advice? Okay, there's one thing I always say. It's on my whiteboard right here. Okay, the first thing on my whiteboard is consistency. It's in red at the top.
There
Very
you go.
important. Yeah. But the second thing, which is really important and which I've seen, because you mentioned mindset before, and mindset is the thing that blocks most of us. We can do everything we want to, but our minds, we need to fight. A lot of times we have to fight or we have to negotiate with our minds. So there's this thing I always say on my board here. It says it's easy, just unfamiliar. So what that says is that everything you want to do is easy. The only reason why it looks difficult to you is because you haven't learned about it, you don't know much about it, you've not practiced it. Let's talk about, say, driving a car. Especially a manual car is stick shifts. When you get in the stick shifts, you have the clutch, brake, accelerator, and the gear. Your hands are moving, your hands are on the steering, your legs are going on 3 pedals, and it's like chaos.
Yep.
It's like chaos the first few days. When to pop the clutch, when to change the gear and all that. But you notice you drive for like 3 months, 6 months, you drive without thinking. That's practically everything in life. It's easy, just unfamiliar. That's what I always say.
Exactly. And you showed it too. You talked about when you first started doing the podcast, how you would be up and, oh man, nervous and stressed out. It's like, am I going to mess this up? And now it's like, I got one in 5 minutes. Oh, I better get ready. It is, and it's funny how our mind will tell us that these things are so difficult and so hard, or how we complicate it more than it needs to be. We're our own biggest
making mountains out of molehills.
Exactly. So last, all right. So tell them all about your business, where they could find you, and your podcast, the title of your podcast.
Okay, so basically, my business is Target ICT. At Target ICT, we help businesses to take full advantage of technology so that they can gain an advantage over their competitors with the ways I talked about previously. So our ideal clients are small to mid-sized businesses that want to increase their return on investments, or they are looking for how to use tech to attract and convert more clients for themselves so they can do more, so they can earn more, and achieve success without putting in too many more resources. So apart from the business, we help businesses do these things free of charge through the podcast. So if you go on Tech, CECH, Tech Your Business, I just did what you talked about not long ago. So techyourbusinesspodcast.com. That's where the podcast is. You get all the links to the podcast there. Then if you want to do anything, if you want to contact me, I'm on LinkedIn, Peter Banigo. I'm the only Peter Banigo on LinkedIn for now. And then our business website is targetict.co.uk. I think I've had some people call me and ask, is it Target in the US, like the Target shop?
No, not Target. That's all you got to tell them. No, not Target. All right, Peter, man, it's been good meeting, good talking to you. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day today to do this. And man, I wish you all the best in your business and moving forward. And we need to keep in touch. And I subscribe to your podcast. I was watching one the other day, so I like it, and keep it up. So appreciate your time, and I'm going to end this now. And again, we'll have all the ways to find Peter in the description. I'll have his website, his podcast information, and his email too. I'll put your email in there too, so people can get a hold of you and find out about your business.
Thank you. Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you,
me.
and have a great day.
Thank you.
All right, let me find my mouse. All right, there we go.